I just had an entire video disappear and I put a lot of hard work into that. So I'm just gonna put some things together really quickly and let you all read them. But I just want to first off start out by saying this. When you look back at history, infamous Ali Trey, I think is his name. I'm gonna add an overlay on here. But when you look back in history and you see that when Native Americans, Indigenous, whatever name, Tamari, true citizens, Aboriginals to the Americas, also includes the Egyptians of the West, which would be those of us who are connected to Memphis and the Mississippi River. But my point is saying this, that there is a special kind of power that we have when we come together. And there is a president who once said that if he was afraid of anything, it would be the Negroes coming together. And Negroes is synonymous with Native Americans. And so this is what we used to be called. The whole mix up around that, it's already been proven. A lot of people are already talking about it. However, binge watching his channel and paying attention to the information that he's given, I realized this one thing. I understand the fear of people like us who are descendants of those who went through horrific things being united, because there is a force that is created around us when we are operating on one accord. We're very powerful. So in order to be able to stop that, they had King James study demonology and wrote a book on demonology. And then right after he wrote the book on demonology, he wrote a Bible. Go figure. So anything that says devil is your lower self, anything that says God is your higher self, anything that says demon are aspects of this lower self, characteristics, jealousy, envy, things like that, greed. And then any other aspects of yourself that represent your higher self are considered to be angelic. So this is the light, angel, angels of light. This is information. This is light body activation. And so we're going through that right now. And so the interesting thing is that the spell of the King James Bible is starting to wear off. However, the book that he wrote on demonology, most people that read the King James Bible have never read the other book that he wrote. And if you read both books, you will be able to see a thread. So, what I'm saying is that what happened to us was actually a form of black magic. And when we come together and are united, it gives us power. So, how can you stop people that have this really specific spiritual connection to Mama Earth, to the land, and are connected to the cosmos? What do you do to oppress people like this? And so, the genius thing to do is to turn them against each other, okay? So that we're not ever going against the system that is imprisoning us. And this is why hip hop was so important. This is why crack in our communities was so important. This is why weapons was so important to be brought into our community. They already know a lot of our history. Go watch his channel and you'll see what I mean. On his TikTok and his YouTube, he's dropping a lot of history and it makes it make sense. And so we wonder why there is this aura of intimidation around us that a certain group of people feel. We're some of the few people on the planet where little kids with water guns or even a bag of potato chips can be mistaken for a weapon and they're taken out. And when you think about that and you think about all of the massacres that have taken place, all of the trauma that we have been through generationally, like we're really lucky to even be able to be here at this time on this planet. It's such a blessing for us to be here right now because we are receiving balance. We're being restored of that which was stampeded on our sovereignty. And so as I was looking at that and thinking about that, I was like, this was the reason that I started studying demonology in the first place. And studying demonology actually allowed me to have a deeper understanding of myself and my people. And it helped me to heal trauma. Because when you don't know the root of trauma, when you don't know what sorcery is, you don't know what black magic is, you don't know the signs of it, you don't know what it looks like. it's going to be more difficult for you to learn what to do, because the very thing that we were told was demonic and evil and sinful to do is what was done to us. And it's still keeping us trapped today. And this is why we are very divided. It is really hard for us to come together and get on one accord. And unfortunately, in these days, as the two earths are splitting, the new earth and the old earth, it's almost as if religion was created to bind us, to keep us from being bonded. So we've been binded spiritually so that we don't bond, because when we bond, because of our spiritual capacity, because of the ancestral intelligence that's in our blood, in our mitochondrial DNA, in our splenic center, because the spleen is your connection to your ancestors' instincts. This was the reason why, as a kid, I could go into the woods all by myself and I always found my way back out. It was my instincts. I had no idea that it was something special about having hair that coils, and that it gave me a different capacity to connect with the ethers, with the information in the spiritual unseen realm. And so, as I began to study metaphysics and then I looked into astrology, I said, oh shit, 2025 is the year where Neptune moves into Aries. Saturn had moved into Aries. Like all of this Aries energy is even like what, 7 planets right now in Aries. I was like, wait a minute, when did this happen again in history? And I found that most of these battles that happened between Native Americans, aka Negroes, and the others, the astrology was the same as it is now. So, if you know that and you know history can repeat itself and you want to stop that, then you're going to have to create a group of people who are going to go out and stop people from uniting and uprising against violence, against the things that have been happening. And this is where we are historically, astrologically, this is where we are. And as I began to just really look into that, and I said, I see now, because think about it. The easiest way to get us to not have any sovereignty is for us to attack each other, for us to hurt each other. So, black on black crime, like I've never heard of white on white crime. I've never heard of yellow on yellow crime. I've never heard of any other crime except for black on black. Why is that a thing? And it's because the sorcery and the black magic that was done over our ancestors, some of them resisted, but a lot of them ended up having to give in to it just to survive. And so that's what's operating through frequencies, energy, and vibration, through the music, through entertainment. And this is why so many entertainers in hip hop, rap, are starting to be exposed so that we can come out from under the spell that has kept us divided, that has kept us sustaining trauma instead of being the ones who end the traumatic patterns. And so this is the goal, whether it's BET or any of these other channels and stations. Like, look at the content that's coming out of there, and you can see the thread that I'm talking about. So, it's no different than crack in our communities. That was sorcery over our minds. So, everything has always been spiritual warfare. And one of the most beautiful things about what's happening right now with all of these wars and rumors of wars, so they say, right? This is the year of the fire horse. Fire horse is also aligned with a lot of Aries energy, warrior energy. I'm going to put an overlay in here so you can read about that. You can pause this video and read these overlays, because I'm not going to explain all of this stuff all over again. But I know this video must be important for somebody to hear this, and you needed to hear this. And one last thing, even for those of us who have special types of challenges like sickle cell anemia, right? And it's very high in the black and brown community, the copper color community. And I believe on a spiritual level, that is a symbol of the superpowers that we have to be able to adapt to our environment for the purpose of survival. So there's nothing weak about us, and it may seem that way on the surface, but spiritually, it's nothing weak about us. And it takes a special kind of person to be able to endure the amount of pain that we endure and continue to do this thing called life. So, Supercell, yeah, it was a movie, but it was a lot of truth to that. And anytime sickle cell is talked about in movies, including Transformers, they talk about it as if it's some type of superpower waiting to be activated. And it is. So, your DNA our blood, and even the diseases that we have only in our communities is not by chance.